Morning, everyone. I'm really happy to see a lot of folks are joining here. A very warm welcome to all of you for joining our highly anticipated webinar. This is the data center, drive the growth. So, throughout the course of this session, our esteemed speakers and our experts will navigate through the complexities of the data infrastructure migration, shedding light on the benefits, challenges, opportunities that lie ahead in this data migration realm. For enhancing scalability and agility, to optimizing cost efficiency and driving innovation, we will uncover the ways in which modernizing data infrastructure can propel the business towards unprecedented growth and success. So, without further ado, let us embark on this enlightening journey together. Once again, thank you for joining for us. Let's begin our exploration on how to dish the data center and write the code. So, let me introduce the keynote speaker of this webinar. So it's a pleasure to introduce our distinguished panel of the speakers for this today webinar. Let me start introducing Sanjit KS, who is the data consultant working in the QBrainX. So basically, he belongs to a data consultant who has an expertise in data warehouse modernization. He has undergone a lot of projects in his experience. Uh, his leadership and strategic vision will provide an invaluable guidance to our audience as they navigate the complexities of data infrastructure modernizations. Next, we'll start introducing Manikandan, who is the director of our data department. His invaluable insights and the practical aspects of transitioning of how data transitions from data centers to cloud-based solutions. He is basically an 20 years of expertise in this data side. He's basically have a lot of experience in data warehouse modernizations, data warehouse built in cloud environment, uh, business analysts as well. So a lot of skills he possesses in the data domain. Next, let me introduce Devanam, who's also a data consultant. So he's basically belongs to a data migration expert. His specific skill set starts like he's a data analyst, data engineer, and who has a lot of expertise in the cloud as well. So this is all about our keynote speakers. Now let me hand it over to Lakshman. Over to you, Lakshman.
Thanks, Vijay. Again, welcome everyone to this webinar. I would like to talk about the purpose of this webinar, and then I'll have our experts to speak about what has been really done, and we want to speak some real stories and how we have solved the customer problems, and then what are the advantages that we have provided with our own unique approach in this whole game. So many businesses are struggling nowadays. Let's look at from a bird's eye view, right? So all the businesses have gone through the big business pressure, the commercial pressure. Their books are not right, and they are looking forward to save a lot of money. And the businesses has to thrive. They have a long way to go. They don't want to stop the runway for any reason. And IT has been the backbone of almost all the customers in the given days. Take a small size customer or a large size customer, their IT maturity is much larger than before. And the IT industry has been growing rapidly. There's a lot of things that are happening in front of us. Businesses are curious. They really want to experiment all this, but experimentations come with a cost, and nobody want to spend a lot of money for their experimentations. These experiments could add a lot of maturity, but they need to approach it in a very cognizant way, so they don't hurt their books. So we are working with a lot of our customers to solve their current challenge of how I can modernize the platform in a way that I'm going to sustain the business for next 30 years or 40 years. To better this approach, cloud has become a major solution in the last 10-15 years. It started as an experiment as well in the last 10 years. So that has been one of the major revolution of our decade. And what are we do nowadays? It's on cloud. Take it on the personal side or a business side, it is all cloud. So how we are approaching our businesses pain points in terms of modernizing their infrastructure, their business process, and their optimization, their automations in a cloud world. So we're going to talk more about one side of this cloud because cloud has got a lot of pieces to it and it's a big fabric by itself. And in this webinar, we're going to talk about how we have solved the data analysis problem, data analytical problems our customers had, and how we have solved the problem and how we stayed efficient in solving those problems. So that's the purpose behind our assembly here, and we are going to speak about a lot more specifics and a lot more unique things that we have added in our solution architecture when it comes to the cloud migration. So thanks for the opportunity, and I'll hand it over to the next one to take it up.
Okay, thank you, Lakshman. Thanks for a big, warm roundup of explaining why we have to get into this topic and discuss about this today. Thank you. And so let me talk about the challenges or why we have to ditch the data centers. So what are the main reasons why we want to ditch the data centers and why we have to move to cloud? So think about this scenario. You have a small house and you want to you are getting a new family member, probably a new kid, and you want to add a new room. So you have to add a new room, and then let's say in couple of years, and you want another room because your kid has grown and you have to build another one, right? It's kind of horizontal scaling, and then you are keep on adding things. At one point, you would see okay, no, you know what, this house is not enough for me, I have to move to a different house. So that scenario is not valid anymore because of the cloud. It is cloud is renting a space. You want a small room for yourself today, you rent that. And if you want a you know a small renting space with a two-bedroom, and you can do that as well. It depends upon your necessity and the time when you need it. And if you don't want it, and you can reduce that as well. So that is what cloud is doing today. And so there are multiple main reasons why you want to opt to cloud, and why you want to change your current on-premise data centers, moving to cloud. main One main reason would be the downtime when you lose any of the network issues, or when you have any of the network issues, or when you lose some kind of power to one of your systems, right? So an average unplanned data center downtime is costing about $9,000 per minute for an US business. So that is a huge number when you think about how much of money that you could lose in from your business in terms of just by a couple of hours of downtime, right? So that is one of the main reasons. Also, there are multiple other critical reasons, so if you are on a certain limited setup with very limited computational power, very limited memory, very limited storage, you cannot adjust your restricted computational power, memory or storage, and when you need it on a on a specific day, let's say Thanksgiving, you have a lot of volume coming in, you have to process a lot of loads within 24 hours of time. Then you cannot really get a new data center to process that, or you cannot adjust that just for that time being purpose. uh, and you have to really live with what you currently have, or you have to spend a lot of money just to understand, just for that one particular time of the year. So that is one other reason. Also, to talk about flexibility with cloud, with changing world with a lot of new applications and other stuff. You want a robust system that is kind of adaptable with any of the new applications or any of the systems that you are running in. So for that, your old on-prem data has to be upgraded or updated periodically, or otherwise you would not be very agile to adapt to the new systems. So that is one of the challenges that's been reported, and 68% of enterprises are calling this as a big challenge in terms of agility. So that is one of the other reasons why businesses are moving towards cloud. Um, in terms of utilization, you set up a big data center, and you have a lot of memory and thinking about future down the line in 10 years, and you put a lot of money and effort, and your business has built a huge data center. But at one point you are thinking that your business is going downtrend, and you want to reduce it. Can you do that today? That is not possible. So, and also, most of the cases, these, futuristic thinking and building a data center is kind of underutilized most of the times. And, according to a survey by, 451 researchers, 30%, 35 percentage of respondents cited that, over provisioning all these data centers and not using all those, performances, or utilizing the whole full power of that data center. So that is one another reason. Okay. Yeah, Vijay, can you move on to the next? Yeah. So why it is essential to move to cloud? Once again, so Gartner, one of the famous surveying company, so they predict 51% of the IT spending is going to shift on the cloud by 2025, and it is about 10% is up from 2022. And also it will dominate the entire application software market in 2025. So that is their surveys. That is what their survey tells. Also, in 2022, over 1.3 trillion in enterprise IT spending is at risk due to the shift in cloud, and it's going to rise to nearly 1.8 trillion in 2025. So these are main reasons why some business want to move to cloud and ditch their data center, and think productively towards building something for the future. Yeah, thank you. We can move on to the next one.
Thanks, Mani.
Yeah.
Thanks for setting up the ground. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. So I'm Bacon here. So basically, if you observe the tech space for the past 5 years, all are obsessed about a term called cloud migration. Migration is everywhere. That is in specific. I'm going to talk about the cloud migration. Why is that? Why are all obsessed with that? So let's start with a small story. So it may bring some vision. It may bring some light to what I'm uh, talking today. And so consider a firm is launching their new product or a service that will be potentially their so they are thinking about the success of the product, and for that they are building a data center, and for that they have to invest in the hardware, and for that they have to set up a separate team to manage that hardware, the security and the infrastructure, all of it, right? What happens if they over predicted the traffic? So for this, so consider this financial year, they have projected something, so that they bought a huge data center with a large capacity. What if the results are not as expected? So they end up in underutilization, right? So what if the reverse of that happens? What they the sometimes the traffic might be heavy, and they end up in building a small data center. So if we end up in the festival days or peak hours, we have to scale up our data center, right? So in that time, they have to run and set up everything, because that is a pretty much manual work, right? So these are the some risk when we build our own data center, and when we trying to manage our own data center. So how to mitigate these risks? So the solution is here, that is cloud. So in cloud, basically, cloud offers everything. You can build an application, you can put up in the virtual machines offered by the cloud, which is very much scalable and flexible, and you can utilize as much as you want. If you sense
not you. The that also done by the cloud providers. If they sense the traffic is too heavy, they will provision another machine or another data center for you, and they will scale down when the traffic is gone, so that you don't need to worry about the infrastructure and network. And you think about security, they have the best of the best security in the world any organization can dream of. So that so they are offering a security, they are offering a good infrastructure, they are taking care of your business, the traffic for you. You just don't need to worry about the infrastructure part. You can just uh, peacefully go and worry about your business and developing your business and the core part of your business. So that is the advantage the cloud is giving to you. And another thing is like you can be uh, par with the technology evolutions. And for if you're and if you're worrying about that how my data or my service will be in when there is a outbreak, right, disaster is happened. So they have the unique mechanism of so keeping your data, a mirror of your data somewhere else, so that your data is always safe. They give that guarantee. And with cloud, you got your cost reduction, you got your cost saved. There is no overhead. And using cloud, when you go modern, you can be competitive across the market. Yeah. Vijay, next slide, please. Yeah. So with that said, we in QBrainX offer migration, but not limited to that. We will sit along with you, and we have a migration assessment program, and we'll sit with you, and we'll have your needs, your pain points, everything with us. We'll sit with you along. We'll sit along with you and have all your data, your pain points, how much volume of data you're using, and what are your future plans. Everything will analyze, and will construct a plan that suits for you. We put ourselves in your shoes, so that the so everything the right planning is half done, right? So we'll choose the right migration strategy that suits your organization size, your data needs, and your resource availability, and what your future plans are. And we'll design a detailed mapping and a detailed architecture. One of them will present to you next now from in the upcoming slides, and we'll test the viability of that solution with you. And after that, we'll hand over it to you. So in that way, we'll ensure all your needs are satisfied, and we'll be with you on the beginning and this up to the success, right? Yeah. So these are the some perks when you migrate your data to cloud instead of building your own on-prem data center, right? So pretty much that there will be reduced downtime, and the cost and efficiency will be higher. And if you so that is future proof, because you are in par with the modern technologies, right? So they are future proof. If you consider a scenario, you are having a legacy system in your, and you build your own data center. So there is new technology comes today. So also there is AI is coming up. So you have to match the power, right? So for that, you need to spend some more on the infrastructure. But in cloud, they have everything ready-made with them. So that is future proof, and your data integrity and security are in safe hands. So the cloud has everything. And yeah. So, and the cost and efficiency, everything is up to the mark. You don't need to worry about that. You can concentrate on your core business, not on the infrastructure part. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Becken. Yeah, so let's talk about what are the tools and the technologies available in today's market in order to support your cloud migration or transition, right? So so in the ever-growing tech space, so we have a lot of options in tech of or tool of choice. So to start with the cloud platform, we have Microsoft Azure, Google's GCP, and Amazon's AWS, right? So on top of that, as we are talking about data migration, so we have the transportation tools like data Talent, Informatica, Fivetran, Google's data flows, all those takes care of when transporting the data from your source systems into the cloud. So this acts as a transportation layer where it would interact with your source system, bringing the data as it gets processed, like a stream data processing or as like a batch data processing into your data lake or your storage. So the next options are on the data lake or like on storage options. So we have Google's GCS, Amazon's S3, and Azure Data Lake storage. The latest one is Gen 2. Okay, so on top of that, so we have to think about our analytical space where we would build our data warehouse. So the topmost player in today's market, Snowflake, and Databricks gives a good competition on the same area, and also Azure Synapse Analytics is being used by most of the industries today for their big data analytics. GCP is being used as well. GCP's BigQuery plays a big part as well in the data warehousing space. Um, for visualization, we have Microsoft's Power BI, Tableau, and Google's Looker. But we can also talk about Domo, Sigma, and other stuff. So they also play a major role in that area. So apart from all these tools, so today we have to talk about one another area, which is the artificial intelligence area, right? So all three big players offer powerful AI models, functional models like Lambda and the LLM models. So Google offers Google Cloud AI. Amazon offers AWS SageMaker, and Microsoft Azure offers Azure AI. So in when we talk about all these options. Uh, when a business approaches us, we would look at their systems, look at their requirement, and we will customize, and then we will give them a tailor-made solution with a combination of all these tool sets and options available in the market. Yeah. Vijay, can we move on to the next?
Yeah. Thank you, Mani. Thank you for those wonderful information. Before jumping into the topic, I want to just know how many of you have visited your local store or supermarket? I know that is a silly question. You all might have visited. A simple local store might have at least 200 transactions per day, right? So maybe we buy something like stationery or groceries, some parts for our motorcycles, right? So these are all transactions. So that is for a small store. What if that is a big store like Walmart? So it will have around millions of transactions, right? Consider, so I'm going to talk about a client who is a leader in auto parts retailer in US. So the client has almost 6,000 stores spanning in 48 states. Can you imagine how big that client is, right? So can you imagine how many transactions that we have, it's logged around for a month or a year? It is really huge, right? Yes, every day these stores make transactions, thousands, generating a massive amount of data. But here's the twist. We are talking about 60 years of data, right? It is 60 years of data. we need that to be migrated into cloud. So, what is the problem with 60 years of data? Why am I highlighting that? It's not only the volume of the data or the size of the data. So before 60 years, can you imagine what are those systems that are present? You know, these data is was maintained on legacy systems, which has a lot of flaws, right? We need to get that data, make sure that it will adapt to the current latest technologies, right? So it's that this is a huge task, right? But the problem with the client, the main pain point of the client is they lack a single source of truth for data, as the sources are so disintegrated with more than 20 plus sources, which caused complex ETL process and delayed insights to the business, right? It's a nightmare. So that's where Kubernetes came in, and we understood the complexities of the project and built a solution that is robust, secure, and flexible. So the solution not only streamlined the data management, but also delivered a significant 30% increase in our clients' ROI. 30% is not like a simple thing. It's for a huge retailer in US, right? It's a really huge profit for the client. So we'll jump into the detailed implementation on the next slide. Check. So these architectures might be new to you, some of you, right? So we always make sure that we put ourselves in the client's shoes so that we understand their requirements much more far better and implement tailored solution to meet their requirements. Remember, this isn't like a generic solution. So we have to communicate with the client, sit beside the client, know what are the problems, gather those requirements, and give a solution which will solve their entire problem. Not only solve the problem, but the solution should be future proof as well. So at QBrainX, we don't just focus on the mechanics of the migration. Our expertise encompasses the entire spectrum, including the security, the governance, networking, and of course the post-migration support. So everything what I outlined is in this diagram. The tools or technologies that what we have used here, what we proposed earlier, later has declared as the leaders by the Gartner report of 2023. So not that is not a wonder, because these tools are really excellent in processing the data, handling the errors, as well as monitoring. Here you can see I am not going to jump into the detailed implementation, but these are the main factors we ensure for all the clients, which we not only provide one solution. So you can see there are custom flavor, Fighter, and Informatica. So these are some different solutions that we put before the client, so the client can choose one which will help them mostly. Okay. Yeah, let's jump into the next slide. Yeah, so you have seen our architecture, right? And we design solution with your business users. We sit beside business users. We keep them in mind, ensuring intuitive interfaces for effortless adoption. Our experience fuels continuous innovation, allowing us to rapidly tailor new solution with client specific needs. So what do you mean by rapidly tailor these innovations? This is because we gain knowledge from our previous experience. We don't put that aside. We keep that in mind. We make that as an asset to our own development. So it will make us accelerate each client's development much faster than any other uh, companies. So here you can see the Grapevine modernization product, right? So you all know to implement a custom solution to any client is a time-taking process, right? We need to gather the requirements, analyze each factors, go in, look into the data, ga- gather the flows, apply transformation. There are a lot of things going happening, right? But what if there is a solution that can help us accelerate these things, right? So Grapevine is our in-house accelerator, which can accelerate all the ETL process much faster using predefined templates. You know what is more impressive? It reduced the development time by almost 50%. So one of our client approached us. So they wanted the solution to be delivered within 6 months. Yeah. But when we look into the problem, there is no way that we can do with at least 1 year. So it's a bit. So we introduced Grapevine at the proposed the Grapevine solution there, and you know what happened? We completed the project at almost 5 months. That is how the Grapevine is going to accelerate your project much faster. And it's not about implementing the data migration project itself. It's more you need to save costs as well, right? Not you are not going to simply implement a data pipeline, right? You need to monitor that cutting, you need to cut the cost and everything, right? So for that purpose, Snowflake is a leader in the data warehousing platform, right? So we introduced a Snowflake app called Quality Updates, but it will do all the analysis on the cluster warehouse usage. So it will cut the cost around 20 to 30% by continuously analyzing those metrics and giving optimal solutions to get the better results as well as to reduce the cost. So that's what quality updates is. Apart from these tools, when we approach a client, when we give a solution, we ensure ourselves that we deliver a generic solution for whenever they have a change, they request a change in the future, it should not affect the pipeline, right? So that's why we always develop a low code, no code framework along with a metadata driven architecture. So this will help the client to not touch the code at any cost. If there is change in the future, we can simply update use any users. They should not be technical. They can easily update this metadata or use the low code framework to change the pipeline according to their needs. So it all helps them reduce the cost as well as to ensure the pipeline is flexible as well as robust. Let's move to the next slide. Yes. When I talked about future proof on the last slide, right? So what do you mean by future proof? So what are the things we need to ensure to make the solution future proof, right? We need to, so before jumping into the project, there's a step we need to do the analysis, and which we go look into the data, get the insights, right? So we need to look into the data and get the insights. And we need to do the data validation, whether it matches the client's requirements, the business needs, right? So these validation and thorough assessment of these data comes before any migration project, right? Yeah. After these assessments, we'll make sure the data which we put into the cloud system is cleaned and neat, right? So there might be some flaws in the data, might be some errors, right? Since these are all legacy systems that we are migrating. So obviously, all the on-prem systems might be legacy, right? There might be some flaws. We need to clean the data before processing into the cloud layer, right? So this is most important step before any data migration process. So you see a point called documentation, right? So why documentation is so important? So in any project, when we start to implement, we document. Our documentation starts parallelly. Why? Because in the future, if an error comes, if the client might not have us to support, right? We will continue the post support, but there might not be the developers who develop the pipeline, right? There will be testers or some other developers, so they need to easily get the error and sorted out, right? For that purpose, so for a client, previously we were, we are continuously supporting the client. So when there is a bug happened, client asked us what's the bug, right? So we will just share the documentation link, since all the process has been documented very well, that we don't have to go back to the code, check where is the error. So it is as simple as that, going into documentation and resolve using the documented the things that we have done. We can use the analyze those documentation and resolve the error very quickly and easily. So that's why documentation is very important, right? So for any migration, another important thing is to keep backup and disaster recovery. So what do you mean by disaster recovery? So disaster recovery, whenever the cloud, uh, we are migrating into cloud, right? So whatever happens to the data center where the cloud data is, right? So if we are facing a downtime, if there is some error happening, or there's a disaster happened for that cloud provider, we should not lose the data. To make sure we don't lose the data, we follow industry good practices to keep the backup as well as the disaster recovery, right? So all these aspects come under the future proofing of the data, which will ensure the data is consistent in the future as well, and will deliver quality results to the client. uh, Thank you, that's all from my side. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So thank you, Sanjay. Thank you for highlighting all those necessary points and what kind of benefits the customers would see when they migrate to cloud and use QBrainX services. So on top of that, so I would also want to talk about how our approach would work in terms of when we go on a customer engagement, right? We come up with a very fresh mindset when it comes to a client engagement. So we wanted to listen to our customers and their pain points, understand their challenges, whatever they are going through, and and also sit with them, go through a thorough discovery session of their current systems, and how their analytical infrastructure is, how systems are laid out, and what are their business users are doing, and what kind of analytics is done. So all those things would be done, and then we will come up with a clear project plan with a phased out approach on how we would be doing this solution building process. And we will have a milestone set on each and every phase. We would have a milestone set, and we would clearly explain our customer what this milestone means and what kind of value it's going to bring to our customer. Okay, so why you have to engage with QBrainX when we, when you are looking for somebody to help you with your, cloud journey or your modernization journey, right? So, what we do is we initially sign all those legal things, and then immediately after that we will jump on and we will help them with 6 to 8 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks of no cost POC, meaning we will sit with them, we will listen to them, we will go through a brief discovery phase. In that time we will understand that all the pain points, and then we will pick one of the use cases that is very critical for the customer, and then we will simply put together a quick architecture, and then we will also deliver a POC on what kind of value this use case can bring them. Let's say a customer is coming up with so what, I have a requirement where I want to predict the churn rate for my retail company or retail business. Then we will ask them a lot of questions. We will try to understand their data models, and then we will put together this plan, and then we will deliver this POC within 4 to 6 weeks for for no cost. That gives the customer two things. One is confidence in working along with Kubernetes experts, and also understanding the dynamics of how our delivery approach would be. So those two things are very critical for a project or an engagement with any of our customers. So, and that's how we have built confidence with multiple customers, predominantly in the US space, in the data implementations. So there are other benefits when you engage with Kubernetes. One is our rapid delivery approach, meaning so our time from the discovery phase to delivering the solution, it's pretty fast compared to where any other competitor in this space. Couple of reasons, Sanjit had already pointed out, we have a framework set up. Something like the Grapevine framework, which is a faster development framework, and also we have the tools and apps that we have already pre-built, and it is already available in the market, something like Quantiflex. So those are already available, and it's ready to go. And also we have a quick migration rollout plan as well that would help the customer to immediately jump in and define their data structures, and define their roles and users, and start working within 2 weeks or 3 weeks, rather than waiting for months to build their data structures or define their roles, responsibilities, and also RBAC security and other stuff. We have a quick rollout app that would also enable them to do that. Um, on top of that, our engineers are strategically positioned, both onshore in US as well as in offshore, where they would have a flexibility of working with them in any time with full good amount of support when they need some questions answered. Can we move on to the next slide? Okay. Okay, so these are some highlights from our approach, and what we have delivered to our customers. So accelerated data transfer. What we mean here is we enable 50% faster data migration. That would save a lot of development time, as well as quick go live. That would bring a lot of value to the end users who is going to consume this data migration effort. In terms of cost optimization, so we our migration strategies save up to 25% because of all these accelerators that we have already built. In whether it is in Snowflake, whether it is in Databricks or in Azure, so we have some accelerators that can enable our customers to for a quick win and to save over 25% of cost. So how are you coming up with your numbers? You may ask me actually. So these numbers are from our success stories from the last 2 years. What we have done to our customers, and what kind of benefits they have obtained during the last 2 years of time. On top of that, we always, like, even after completing the migration, we are in constant touch with our customers to talk about, like, what else we could do and how it is going. And do we have anything, I mean, do you have anything else for us to, like, support your with the migration, whatever we have done, or, like, do you want to enhance it in a different way? Do you see any problems? So we ask all those questions, even after migration, and we go through a thorough warranty time as well, giving them full confidence in the solution whatever we have built. So the seamless collaboration, right? So that is very critical when you work with a customer. So QBrainX always, takes at a high priority, and we are on top of that all the time. So our operations in terms of, like, strategically, look strategically placed teams. So we have teams in India, we have teams in US, and we have teams in the UAE region as well. So any customer who is looking to engage us, they don't want to think about the time zone difference, or they don't want to think about whether my team would be able to work with the QBrainX team, and whether they will be able to achieve what they are looking at in terms of requirement. So we strategically placed our teams to gain and give full support to our customers. Yep. um, that's it. We can move on to the next slide. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lakshman. Thank you, Sanjit and Began, for giving us such wonderful insights. Everyone for joining us today for this insight webinar. We hope you found this discussion valuable and informative. We appreciate your time and engagement throughout the session and maintaining decorum in this session. As we conclude, we want to ensure you all the necessary information to stay connected with us. So, if you want any concerns or if you want any business clarifications, feel free to reach out to our leaders. Here we given our mail ID of the leaders and also the LinkedIn profiles. Please scan the QR code to stay connected with them. So let's open this podium for any Q&A sessions. Thank you.
Everyone can post your questions in the Q&A section.
If nobody has a question, I would like to ask Sanjit and Bacon a question now about your, who is your recent client? If you cannot name the client, but what kind of business they do, and what are you currently, helping them with?
So I can answer to that question. My client is they are a finance company, and also they are involved in the insurance, the life insurance, predominantly the life insurance, US based client. So they are facing a challenge of data disintegration between their systems. They are currently having 5 different sources. So all are dealing directly with the customer, and this data is very sensitive, and I'm helping with them to integrate those data in a cloud platform that is Snowflake. But their challenge is they don't want to use any of the tools. With our expertise and with our predefined frameworks, I'm helping with them to migrate the data using our own customized Python framework and a tailored solution, so that they can easily get the data within a specific time, because the time is their main constraint. And with that said, I can easily move I can easily build the data pipeline using our predefined frameworks that is custom made, which made them free of cost because there is no licensing overhead. So pretty much they're free of cost, and the acceleration, the speed is what they want. That we kept our promise, and we delivered that.
Okay, so any anyone have any question?
I think Kadir has a question on the QA section. So I'll take that question. So his question is about whomever is adopting the cloud and what do they need to be careful with. So that's a very good question. Given the evolution that we have seen from the IT standpoint and all the modern framework standpoint, everybody want to venture into cloud. Everybody want to venture into AI, ML, generative AI. Too many things are happening, and everybody want to try, as I said in the beginning. What they need to be really cognizant about is the cost. The challenge nowadays is that the cost framework is twisted. Some of you are probably familiar with how the software licenses has worked like 20 years ago or 30 years ago. They're one bulk, one time payment, and then probably they paid for the upgrades. So they handle the cost once in a year or once in 2 years or once in 10 years. So they can focus on spending the rest of the cost in supporting the platform or expanding and everything because they worked on a rigid software foundation. But now the cloud foundation is expanding. It is like our universe. It is there is no boundary to it. And look at how AWS was 5 years ago, and look at where they are right now. They are acquiring, they are expanding, they are going to keep on doing this. So it's a high demanding marketplace, and they don't do it for charity. They do it for a cost. And is their cost going to be static? No, their cost is going to increase. Like how we have upgraded the softwares in the past, they are going to upgrade the cost of cloud because they are letting the customers to see the money in a smaller volume. Just like how you pay your credit card, and your minimum payment is always so minimum that you will be so inclined towards, okay, let me pay the minimum and then worry about the big part later, right? So that's a similar dynamics that is going on in the current scenario. To most of our customers whom we advise, we always talk about the cost management, and we always tell them that don't think about the cost in your current year or the next 2 years. Think about the cost in the next 10 years, and also consider the fact that your cost is going to be multiplied. And as the cloud partner is growing, they also grow your cost. So that means you will end up seeing surprise monthly bills from a cloud cost standpoint. So we encourage our customers in the recent days that go for a hybrid, go for a multi-cloud approach, go for an on-prem and a cloud approach. There are a lot of things, and then we also enforce a strict governance towards controlling the cost. Once you monitor the cost, then you know how to control it. So we always put the monitoring in place. So there's a very good cost governance that we always suggest, recommend that will help them as vendors. We will be on a project, we will go build it and come back, but they need to sustain the solution. So that to me is a big careful thing that the business has to look at.
Thank you, Lakshman. So I think we have one more question in the Q&A session.
So this is from Suhash. How do you convince your clients who have used legacy systems throughout their business and who are stubborn not to move? So it's again a good question. This customer that we are talking about right now, the architecture that we have shown, they have a history of 60 plus years, and probably their business is running for more than 80 years. They are one of the success story of United States, and they've been in the industry for so long. Their IT maturity is there for very long, and we ourselves are seeing the data for last 60 years. So the systems are there. There is one good dynamic that customers always believe is that my systems could be old, my systems are probably not supported, but I have a business user who is really friendly with this. They really worry about this, their business user community. For example, if there is a bank, a global bank, say Standard Chartered or HSBC kind of banks, and if they have been doing this for a very long time, like say 100 years, they are probably going to work on their 50% of the 50% of the systems in a legacy way, because they will think about what happens to my 50,000 different user community who handled the system for last 30-40 years. They will not be okay with all the modern systems. You can present a very nice silver screen user interface, great user experience, but they won't be flexible with the learning curve. So, business users are a major culture factor when it comes to the cloud migration. So even now, even though cloud has matured, even though cloud partners have matured, they are making it so enterprising, and they are showing a lower cost. There's very good benefit that businesses can get, but they always worry about, I don't want to disrupt my daily operations. If they disrupt that, the whole business process that they've relied on, their customers have relied on, is going to shake one single day, and nobody likes a black day in their business. So pretty much convincing the users and putting them in a nice transition from an on-prem world to a cloud journey is a critical milestone that a business executive will be thinking about. So that is still going on. Many Fortune 500s are still not completely cloud. They want to get into cloud, so they are taking the cloud first journey now. It takes long time to mature.
Thank you so much, Lakshman.
If anyone needs to speak, please raise your hand. You'll get the opportunity to speak.
Hello. I have a questions about a migration. Like if I have an existing client, have already get a partnership from as a friend, like uh, this partnership. Um, how do we convince them to reduce the cost um with the different platform? If there's more cost reducibility.
Question is still not clear to me. Anyone can rephrase?
So it looks like Ajay is asking. So the customer had already opted for certain tool set, but that's not a cost optimized way to do the migration. So how can we educate the customer or inform the customer to go with a different tool set or different tool of choice in order to reduce their burden on the cost?
Yeah, that's again a good question.
Mhm.
Many customers are being sold heavily. So these are the economical side of the whole IT business, right? Rarely the hands-on people like us will look at the dynamics. There's a heavy commercial politics runs with many customers that we have sit with them during the discovery process. They've already made their choice on what solution they want to build with. This customer that we are talking about, they already went with Snowflake. If at all we sat with them like a year ago, we would have given them options. Okay, so these are some of the options. Let's look at what is the tailor fit solution that you want to go with. But Snowflake, Databricks, Azure, AWS, GCP, they are really smart in selling their solutions to the topmost businesses, known businesses, small businesses in a high way, because they need to survive for a very long time to come. So they are already getting sold. That means, for example, if Snowflake is expensive, then we are engaged with a customer who is rigid to stay in a Snowflake platform. So in those customers, what we suggest is that they're going to build an ecosystem. So it is just not Snowflake, it is going to be Snowflake plus a lot of ancillary solutions that are going to be in the play. The architecture diagram that Sanjit has provided, it had showed a lot more solutions besides Snowflake. So we can play around with those options. That's choice one. The second choice that we always put forward is that the world is little open now. There's a lot of open source that are in all these solutions. So pretty much we need to take advantage of that and build accelerators so you can tackle the point of, yes, you pay good money to this software systems, and I know that you are not going to come out of this, but let me build these design patterns for you so you will save your money in this way, even though you lose the money on the other side of it. So you still need to work with the customer. At last, customer is right, and we need to work with them. And once they believe that yes, we are bringing a right governance process, we are making the right choice, then they are going to change. So not many customers are coming with the open book. They make the choice. They usually make a choice, and then they come to the table.
Okay, we are right on time. If nobody has any questions, we can conclude this webinar. And thanks everyone for joining, and thanks for your time. And we will soon see you again in a different session. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.